Dark rumors were spreading across the decks of every major cruise line in 2026, and no one seemed to know why passengers were suddenly refusing to pay gratuity subscribe for more stories like this and hit like to support these investigations. Year had started like any other, with the bright shimmer of the ocean stretching endlessly as massive ships cut through the waves, carrying thousands of travelers seeking escape and comfort. Yet beneath, the laughter and music and uneasy tension followed, quietly like a cold whisper drifting from cabin to cabin. And it all began with one man named Elliot Marston, a retired engineer known for his calm nature and quiet manners, who boarded the Aurora Crest cruise for what was meant to be a peaceful celebration of his late wife's birthday. Elliot had been on dozens of cruises before and never questioned the automatic gratuities that appeared on every bill, but on the second evening he noticed a small detail, something almost invisible yet deeply unsettling. The tip charge on his account had changed, not increased, by a few dollars as usual, but altered twice within a single day. Without his consent, he went to the guest services desk seeking answers, yet every time he asked about the adjustments, the staff members exchanged brief glances, as if silently warning one another. The supervisor finally appeared, offering a gentle smile, but something in her eyes told a different story. She claimed it was a simple system recalculation, and Elliot almost believed her until she accidentally referred to the recalculation as an audit. He pressed for more, but she refused to explain, leaving him even more unsettled. During dinner, Elliot overheard two servers whispering near the galley doors, one of them trembling as she said she could not keep doing this anymore, the other insisting they had no choice, not after what they knew. Life on the Aurora Crest continued normally for most passengers, yet Elliot sensed a pattern. His gratuity amount rose slightly every night, always after midnight, as if someone waited for him to sleep before altering his account. What bothered him most was how no one else seemed to notice, or perhaps they did, but chose silence to avoid trouble. On the fourth day, Elliot met a young couple, Lana and Rowan, who confessed they too had discovered strange fluctuations in their gratuity charges. They had asked around and overheard a rumor about a hidden fund, a secret financial pool maintained far from the official accounting books, and those gratuities were being siphoned into it. And with every passing day, more passengers began sharing similar stories. Hushed conversations filled the lounges as people whispered about servers breaking down in tears, managers making late-night radio calls, and cameras being removed from certain staff-only quarters. Something deeper, darker was unfolding behind the scenes, and soon the situation would escalate beyond mere suspicion. As the ship approached the midpoint of its voyage, the atmosphere turned strangely heavy. Crew members avoided eye contact, and passengers sensed they were being watched. Elliot began noticing the same security officer lingering near him every time he checked his account, as if monitoring his reaction to the inexplicable changes. One night, while wandering the quieter decks, Elliot spotted a crew door left slightly ajar. Hearing faint voices inside, he stepped closer and listened. A group of employees were discussing an upcoming inspection, and the fear was evident in their voices. They spoke in trembling tones about a massive internal investigation that would expose the truth behind the gratuity discrepancies and put them all at risk. One of them mentioned a name, the Horizon Ledger, a secret system allegedly active on multiple cruise lines across the world. Elliot knew instantly that this was far bigger than miscalculated tips. Something systemic was happening, and the passengers were unknowingly funding it. The next morning, the captain made an unusual announcement, urging everyone to continue paying gratuities and insisting the fees supported hardworking staff. Yet the tone of his message felt strangely rehearsed, nearly scripted, and the passengers began sensing desperation beneath it. By now, whispers filled the hallways of a mysterious incident that occurred on another ship just weeks earlier, a ship where gratuity charges spiked suddenly before the vessel abruptly changed course without explanation. The official story claimed mechanical issues, but one crew member aboard the Aurora Crest allegedly hinted that the ship had been rerouted to avoid a regulatory audit that would have exposed the hidden system. Panic began spreading quietly among crew members, who feared that if passengers stopped paying, the hidden fund would collapse and those in control would retaliate. Elliot, Lana, and Rowan pieced together scraps of overheard conversations, coded memos, and frightened confessions from staff who could no longer bear the secrecy, and what they uncovered formed the beginning of a terrifying truth ship entered its seventh night. As waves rose against its hull and winds turned unpredictable, the stormy weather seemed almost symbolic, as though nature itself sensed the growing chaos inside the Aurora Crest. The passengers, who had grown suspicious, now refused gratuities in large numbers, demanding explanations and exposing inconsistencies in the accounts department. But instead of answers, they were met with evasive replies, disappearing crew members and systems mysteriously going offline. The tension had reached a boiling point. The crew could no longer hide the truth. And so began the second part of the unfolding nightmare. It started with a single server who collapsed in the main dining hall, not from exhaustion, but from the overwhelming fear of what was happening behind closed doors. She confessed through tears that the gratuities were never reaching the staff as promised. The money was being siphoned through the Horizon Ledger into a shadow fund used to cover debts, lawsuits, and private executive ventures far from the public eye. The staff had been threatened, pressured to remain silent with their contracts and visas at risk if they spoke out. Many had families depending on them and lived in fear of losing everything in a single moment. Elliot realized that the gratuities passengers had always paid out of kindness had been twisted into something corrupt and cruel, and the reason cruisers were refusing to pay in 2026 was because a few brave employees had finally exposed the truth behind the curtain. Word had spread across social media and travel forums, igniting a global revolt among travelers who demanded transparency, fair treatment for crew, and accountability from corporate executives on the Aurora Crest. Chaos unfolded as passengers stormed guest services lines, demanding refunds, while corporate officials hurriedly arrived by helicopter in a desperate attempt to suppress the growing rebellion. Elliot, Lana, and Rowan documented everything, sharing evidence with journalists and investigators who had been seeking proof of the Horizon Ledger for years. The cruise lines had long believed passengers would never question gratuities, but now, with the truth revealed, the world saw clearly how deep the corruption ran, and the revolt grew unstoppable. By the time the Aurora Crest reached port, hundreds of passengers refused to leave the ship until the crew received proper payment. Independent investigators swarmed the vessel, uncovering mountains of falsified records, manipulated accounts, and a complex network designed to exploit both staff and passengers. The scandal exploded across global news, shaking the entire cruise industry, forcing new laws, new regulations, and a complete overhaul of the gratuity system. The Horizon Ledger collapsed. Corporate executives resigned in disgrace, and crew members finally spoke openly about the fear they had lived under for years. And Elliot, standing on the dock watching the chaos unfold, knew that the passengers' refusal to pay gratuities in 2026 had become more than a protest. It had become a worldwide reckoning and a turning point for every traveler who believed in fairness, transparency, and the right to know where their money truly went. Thank you for watching this journey. Share your thoughts in the comments and follow for more deep stories and hidden truths. Your support helps bring more powerful videos to life. Stay curious, stay aware, and join me again for the next mystery.